Hello and welcome back to Are You Serious? Well, first, let me tell you that it's about 7:45 in the evening in Kuwait right now, and it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius. Yeah, I have recently found some information regarding visas and that Chantal may be able to stay in Kuwait for up to a year. A year. So this is fairly new. I can't find the effective date of this, but it has been announced by the relevant authorities. If you want to reference Kuwait Times, Kuwait announces new visa for sports and cultural activities. So this is a new category of entry visa. It's not a tourist visa. It's not a work visa. This is a totally new category. A decision was made by the first Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Interior, and Acting Minister of Defense. It's all in one person, Sheikh Talal Al-Khaled. And he made a decision to modify Article 4 of the Ministerial Resolution number 957/2019. I'm looking for that. I haven't located it quite yet. And it is to create a new category of entry visa. Now, the new category is for people who are participating in sports, cultural, or social activities. Well, what does that mean, right? Cultural exchange is probably what Chantal is going to be going for. I don't think sports is really, you got to leave the apartment to engage in some kind of sport, I would think, right? Cultural, she doesn't seem all that interested, really. Or the social activities doesn't seem all that interested. But where I think she could make an argument for, she's really going to have to clean up her game, though, I'll tell you that. I think she can make an argument for the cultural exchange where she is educating the Western world, Canada, the US, some of the UK, about the country of Kuwait. I think that's how she could qualify. But she would really have to clean up her entire channel, which she has made some changes. But I mean, recent past few days, she's just been swearing and ranting. And Kuwait doesn't want anyone to represent them that's going to be acting in that manner. So she really needs to get a hold of herself. So, in order to provide flexibility and alternatives for extended stays for eligible candidates, the sporting and cultural visas will initially have a 3-month validity period. So that's after the tourist visa expires, because that's a different category of visa. There will be an option of renewal for up to 1 year from the date of issuance. So theoretically, she could be there until June 2024 and not have to leave. This may be the quote unquote loophole she was talking about. It's not a loophole. It's a whole new category of visa. Here's the catch. Individuals must apply for the visa through an authorized organization, such as a sport club, social groups, cultural associations, or other pre-approved organizations, adhering to the rules established by the authorities. So she hasn't left the apartment unless she's going out to eat with Salah. So, it would be, this is why you have to get out and about. You never know when this type of thing is going to come up. She could have been making friends at the expat center and getting clued in on different things that are going on. That's how I found, and I don't know if it's this way in Kuwait. I've never been to Kuwait, but I found in Egypt, the best method of news getting across to several people is word of mouth. You have to get out and talk to people. So, and you have to talk to other foreigners who may be going through the same thing that you are and see how they're handling it. That's why it's so important to make, she doesn't want to make friends. She's not a friendly person. Okay. But you got to make some networking contacts minimum. And this, whatever organization, she would need to apply for this visa through that organization. Now it says adhering to the rules established by the authorities. I haven't found those yet. I haven't found those. I'm looking. And they're predicting that Kuwait's implementation of the new visa category will be beneficial for the sports and tourism industry. So here we have a picture. This is June 10th that this meeting took place. Foreign Minister Sheikh Salim. I'm used to saying, yeah, it's transliterated. Sheikh Salim Al-Abdullah Al-Jaber Al-Sabah holds a luncheon for European ambassadors, heads of diplomatic missions, and this is French. I'm going to have to rely on Chantal for the pronunciation of this. Charge d'affaires, serving in Kuwait on June 10th, 2023. So European ambassadors. Now, the reason the European ambassadors are at this luncheon is because Kuwait is hoping for European states to grant the Schengen visa to Kuwaiti citizens. So let's say someone in France wants to go on vacation to Germany. They don't have to get a visa. They don't have to get a German visa, a tourist visa, nothing. Kuwait is requesting, like, let us, grant that visa to us so that we can travel freely. So I think that granting this extra category of sports and cultural exchange, social visa is kind of like giving a little bit, like, hey, we'll let, citizens of the EU extend their stay in Kuwait. In return, maybe you could grant us the Schengen visa. That's what I think. The minister called upon the diplomats of various European countries to act to ease difficulties facing Kuwaiti nationals seeking Schengen visas, facilitate procedures to apply for the visa, set more dates, and speed up paperwork. Sheikh Salim requested that the Schengen visa for Kuwaiti citizens be valid for several years. He expressed utter respect for these states' procedures and sovereignty with respect to issuing the visas. Separately, Interior Minister Sheikh Talal gave orders to cancel 66,584 driving licenses of expatriates whose residency visas have expired due to death, or staying outside Kuwait for more than 6 months. Now, the license, as far as Chantal goes, is a separate issue entirely. Now, under this new, that's going to come into question too. This new category of visas, are the driver's licenses going to be included? I have done some reading on the driver's license, how she may have been driving legally. I just haven't seen anything that seemed official. And, where the community is very eager to ding her on whatever they can, I'm not going to trust some creators to just say that, oh, it's illegal, she's going to get arrested. And I mean, I need to see it in writing, And they are setting up checkpoints. So that's something Chantal probably has already encountered. That's not uncommon. Senior police sources said the Interior Ministry has agreed to set up permanent security checkpoints in Jalib al-Shuyukh to arrest residency violators and not only rely on surprise raids. Because a ton of people are arrested through these surprise raids. So they're going to be mandatory checkpoints when you're driving, when you're going to Starbucks, you might be asked to pull over. Especially looking like a foreigner, you're going to be asked to pull over and ask for your documents. Checkpoints will be at the entrances and exits of the area, as the ministry found from its data that most violators reside in Jalib, in addition to most violations taking place in this area. Permanent checkpoints will also be set up in other expat-populated areas, such as Mahula, Farwaniya, Hawali, Khaitan, and Benid al-Gar. Wow, this is something else. Listen to this. Sources said that Interior Ministry will seek the help of its civil employees and volunteers. So, like, if you're in states, like someone who works for the city or someone who works for the state that you live in, um, that aren't military, but work for the government in some capacity, right? Just to make it relatable. Seek the help of civil employees and volunteers to find violations and to inform the Interior Ministry operations, especially vendors who sell goods in front of mosques or in alleys in residential areas. So you will have, instead of begging, some people who are really, really struggling, they'll go to an area where they can buy something super, super cheap, and they'll buy it in bulk. And they'll load themselves up. And in Egypt, they'll walk right through traffic, and just like knock on your window and try to get you to buy something. Sometimes it's what's really common is like little packages of tissues, like Kleenex. That's very common. And like they'll sell it to you for like hardly anything. So it looks like they're asking civil employees to check IDs of any vendors who are selling goods in front of the mosque or in alleys in residential areas. The volunteers will have the right to ask residents for their IDs and confirm their residency status. Volunteers. And immediately coordinate with Interior Ministry operations to arrest any violator. What does this mean? It means Chantal needs to be on her absolute best behavior no matter where she goes and no matter where she streams or uploads a video online. If this is not specific and it's asking people who aren't law enforcement to check IDs of foreigners, people who are visibly foreign. So if she pisses the wrong person off and they're like, could I see your ID? She needs to have that on her. And she doesn't have a civil ID. I really don't care what she says. So I'm very curious. It seems that this is already in effect. She may have this type of visa now. And it starts out at 3 months and it can be renewed for up to a year from the initial date that it was granted. The visa will be granted by the General Directorate of Residence Affairs upon submission of a request by recognized sports club, accredited cultural and social institutions, bodies, or associations in adherence to the guidelines set by the General Directorate of Residence Affairs. So I'm very curious which institutions those are. I would think, because there are certain non-governmental organizations, NGO for short, that are worldwide, like the British Council, for example. The British Council is in a lot of different countries. So I'm sure, and they're legit. It's very, they're very legit. So I'm sure that something like the British Council would be considered like a valid association to have this kind of visa applied for on your behalf, for cultural exchange. We have, like we're teaching people English and, you would have to make a case for how this is going to benefit Kuwait. Kuwait is granting the visa. You have to tell them why it benefits them to let you stay, which is why Chantal really needs to clean up her act ASAP if this is what she's going to do. Because Kuwait doesn't want to be represented by this foul-mouthed Westerner who gorges herself almost on a daily basis for online for all to see. And especially where Kuwait does have a bit of an obesity problem, she's not the best spokesperson. And then she gets on there wearing hijab and the abaya, swearing and cursing, insulting people, I mean, she's really got to clean it up. Now, I don't know if this is the visa that she's under now, if she is eligible to apply for it. You know, if she was smart, she would have had this in the works a while ago. You gotta get to know people. You're not an island in countries like this. This is a communal society. The way to get through it successfully is your contacts with people, different people. It's not like, oh, in the States, you have this form to fill out, you fill it out correctly, you bring it here, you pay your fee, everything should be fine. Like in theory, it's like that in other countries, but really, if you know someone who knows someone who works there, it's going to get through a lot faster. If you're friendly, if you're nice, if you offer to do something for them. Now, in the States, that would be, that's illegal. Quid pro quo. But this is how business is conducted in the Middle East. So just wanted to let you know about that. Very, very interesting. I'll let you know what I find out if there are any, if I see any more developments. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.